Hi everybody, Steve here at Forest Lawn in Cathedral City, California. And I'm right here on the corner of Ramon Road and Duval. And I'm here to visit the final resting places of Dottie Kamenshek and Marge Wenzel. They both were pretty famous baseball players back in the day, and they were immortalized along with a number of other women in a very popular movie, A League of Their Own. I had no idea that they were buried here until subscriber Curtis Turek suggested that I come to visit their grave sites right here in Cathedral City. I live in Palm Springs, which is 10 minutes away, and as you know, if you've watched this channel before, I come here all the time, and my final resting place has already been purchased right across the street at Desert Park Memorial Cemetery. So thank you, Curtis, for letting me know that their ashes are interred here. And right behind me is the columbarium where Dottie Kamenshek and Marge Wenzel's ashes are interred. Right here, I'm just on the outside of the gates here from the cemetery. And you can see what a busy street this is. You can see there's a bus right behind me, lots of cars. This is a pretty busy intersection all the time. And as you know, if you've watched my channel before, personally I always prefer cemeteries. There's a lot going on with a lot of people. I know some people really like peaceful, quiet cemeteries, and they're nice too, but for some reason I just always prefer when there's a lot going on in and around a cemetery. Now, I think it was last year that I visited the grave sites of Penny Marshall and Gary Marshall from A League of Their Own. And I'll put a link down below this video, so if you haven't already seen those two vlogs, you can click on the link and watch those as well. I'm going to walk back over to the entrance gate right now, but look at this across the street. I've never seen two people riding on a skateboard before, have you? At least I think that's a skateboard they're on. It doesn't look all that safe, but it does look like they've got their helmets on. And it sounds like these two cars here at the stoplight are getting ready to drag race. I haven't seen drivers drag racing in the streets like this in years. This is 2020 though, so nothing really surprises me this year. Because this is such a tiny cemetery or memorial park, the cremation niche of these two pioneer baseball players is pretty easy to find. You enter right here at the front gates at this fountain, and then you take this pathway straight back to the northeast corner of the cemetery, and their niche is almost in the middle of the cremation niche wall that you see on the left-hand side. The All-American Girls Professional Baseball League was founded in 1943 by Philip K. Wrigley, the chewing gum magnate and owner of the Chicago Cubs and Wrigley Field in Chicago. It was during World War II, and the female league helped fill the gap in Major League Baseball, while many of the men were away fighting in the war. Between 1943 and 1954, more than 600 women played in the league. And the most successful team in the league was the Rockford Peaches, who won 4 championships. Dorothy, or Dottie Kamenshek, whose nickname was Cammy, played with the Rockford Peaches her entire career from 1943 to 1951. She was considered by many to be the best player in the league. And in 1999, Sports Illustrated magazine included her among the 100 greatest female athletes of the 20th century. And did you notice their shared epitaph? It reads, "In a league of their own, now and forever." That's pretty moving, and the image of the two baseball bats and ball is pretty fun too. In the 1992 hit movie A League of Their Own, Gina Davis's character Dottie Hinson was loosely based on Dottie Kamenshek's baseball career. There were a total of 10 teams in the league, and during her baseball career, which lasted from 1945 to 1953, Margaret or Marge Wenzell played for 9 of those teams. In 1988, Dottie and Marge, along with all of the other women in the league, were inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. And while making the movie, director Penny Marshall invited Dottie and Marge and a handful of other surviving members of the league to meet the cast and share their stories and to give them tips and pointers for their roles. Following multiple strokes, Dottie Kamenshek died in Palm Desert, California on May 17, 2010 at the age of 84. Marge Wenzel died from Alzheimer's disease, also in Palm Desert, California, on July 6, 2014, at the age of 89. Their Wikipedia pages and Find a Grave Memorial pages say they were spouses, and as their epitaph says, they are now together forever. They truly were trailblazers in so many ways. All of this got me thinking about the other 600 players in the league and wondering about how many of them, if any, are still alive. So I did a Google search and discovered that Mary Pratt, the last known original Rockford Peaches player, And one of Dottie's teammates died just this year on May 6, 2020, at the age of 101. The most memorable line in the movie is probably when Tom Hanks says, "There's no crying in baseball." I think Hanks' character would have been okay with a few tears in the cemetery, though. Before walking back to my car, I thought I would just take a few minutes and read some of the names and epitaphs on the niches in this section, when one really caught my eye and grabbed my attention. I remember hearing a couple of years ago that singer Nancy Wilson had died out here in the desert area in Pioneer Town. So when I spotted her name here on this niche wall, I wondered if it might be the same Nancy Wilson. The epitaph right above her name reads, "A Lady with a Song," so it seemed pretty likely that this was her final resting place. To double check, I looked up her Find a Grave Memorial page on my phone, and sure enough, this is her cremation niche, which is shared with her husband, Reverend Wiley Burton. Talk about a happy accident, if you believe in accidents. Accident or fate, it definitely made my day. To just happen to stumble upon a famous gravesite is a very rare experience for me. My experience usually is the opposite. It often takes me days, weeks, months, and even years to find many of the famous gravesites that I've visited on this channel. The wall that you see there just to the right of Wilson's niche is the niche wall where Dottie and Marge's cremated remains are interred. So they're all pretty close together. Nancy Wilson died in Pioneer Town, which is near Yucca Valley and Joshua Tree, and about 37 miles north of the cemetery here. She died on December 13th, 2018, at the age of 81, and I wasn't able to find an exact cause of death listed anywhere. She was a popular singer for 5 decades, beginning in the 1950s, and won her first of 3 Grammy Awards in 1965 for the song "How Glad I Am." It was a hit single that went to number 2 on the Billboard Pop Standards singles chart, and it's still my favorite Nancy Wilson song. It sounds just as good today as it did back in 1964 and brings back so many great memories. She also appeared in more than 20 movies and TV shows and was a regular on The Sinbad Show. So do you have a favorite Nancy Wilson song? And did any of you ever play in an all-girls baseball team? Please share with us in the comments section. So if you enjoyed today's video, I hope you'll join me on another one by clicking and watching this one here. So until our next trip down memory lane together, thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.